Welcome at forextrading.com. Let's see how we can work with the dome, or you can call it otherwise a saucer or just a half elliptic shape. So right now we are looking at 1 minute euro dollar chart. We are looking at this small time frame because it's not too easy to find fast this kind of shape. I'm talking about the dome. Well, seemed to me that easiest way to show this kind of shape, this kind of pattern on price chart is to go to the 1 minute chart because I see them here very often. And some of the time they are very classic, but most of the time they have different shapes. So we can see this kind of shape of the dome. We can see similar next to this one. We can see something like this, or we can look for in other ones that might be similar or very different. It depends on our experience how we see those domes coming up at the price chart. So some of them you see here, this elliptic shape is telling us about the trend change. So some of them will be changing the trend. So price moving lower and lower, start to consolidate at some levels, and then start moving higher and higher. So we are talking about the change of the trend. But sometimes it is that the dome will just give us some signal, not exactly based on change of the trend. You see here, for example, we see example of the dome. We can mark it like right here. But for example, this case didn't give us a simple and right away signal to enter the market. Market went through, followed to the upside after this dome, but after a while. So it's not always obvious how to use the dome. That's why I'm thinking about showing you how it is possible to use them in the safe way. To use them in the right way. You see, for example, here we are looking at beautiful example of an dome, and it is something like this, or we can show it to you like different, something like this. So we are looking at the example when the dome again changed at least a 1 minute chart trend. But when we are trading at the 30-minute chart, 4-hour chart, it is different to use the domes because right here, for example, you could trade the shorts after breaking out from the base of the dome. So when the base is breaking out to the downside, we are taking the short position, and usually it is profitable, especially when it's with the trend. Right now, the dome changed the trend we are looking at, but this short direction really could be based on 30-minute chart, for example, bigger time frame. So maybe we are looking at some part of the day. You see at 1 minute chart that chart was really in an uptrend for a couple of hours, but the whole day we were going down, and maybe this dome gave us a direction to go with the daily or weekly or even monthly short trend. So it is important to find and use those domes based on the trend that is happening on the chart, or find a dome which is changing the trend, which is sometimes pretty much obvious because we see the sellers are finished at the market. Otherwise, for example, when we are talking about strong demand like this here, it is not too profitable to use dome when the trend is growing very fast. So you see here, for example, we are looking at the dome example, this one right here. And it is not reasonable after this kind of demand to enter some short position after breaking to the downside from the base of this dome, for example. So this kind of trade wouldn't be reasonable because the trend was very much aggressively moving higher and higher. So some of those domes we're gonna keep ignoring because they are against the trend. So still, the most important thing when we are trading patterns is the trend and is of course the price action. So how many buyers are coming into the market, how many sellers are at the market. To know this difference, you have to be a little bit more experienced at the market or just watch some free videos at my website to learn yourself how to recognize those moments. You see here we got kind of dome pattern which was probably with the daily or some kind of bigger trend, few hours trend, and the market moved lower and lower, which gave us a nice signal at the dome base breakout to the downside. You see perfect signals to enter the market, and then we could stay for just 10 or 15 pips, for example, at this 1 minute chart, or move much lower with the trend. So trend is very important to use any kind of pattern. Again, dome itself, any saucer shape at the price chart isn't much worth if we are looking to trade against the trend. So we have to find situation when the trend is helping us. Right now we are looking at the another dome example. When you see the base of the dome is somewhere around here, and it has been tested and broken and accelerated afterwards, and here we got the same example. So we are looking again at the dome when the base of the dome was broken somewhere around here, and the price action accelerated to the downside. So it gave us a clear clue to enter just for a few moments to see how it's going to work. So you can train at 1 minute chart with those patterns, for example. It is very simple just to watch them and keep in your mind what kind of trend are we having for today. So for example, if we see right now a dome, for example, if this would be more beautiful dome than it is, actually it has been a dome and it moved lower, you see. But when we take a look at 30-minute chart, for example, we see the trend for today is kind of growing a little bit or consolidating. So 1 minute chart dome could give us a nice signal, but it wasn't 100% clear which direction market is moving. But trading 1 minute chart is different than trading, for example, 30-minute chart, because at 30-minute chart we have the trend connected with 4-hour chart, medium trend, and daily chart, big trend. So we are talking about bigger trends starting from 15 minutes, 30-minute chart, and 1 minute chart really doesn't tell us much about any kind of trend. It's just moving a few minutes to the upside and another few minutes to the downside during the day. So we have different trends during the day at 1 minute chart. But let's find some moment when the market showed us a dome at 30-minute chart, for example. Here we go. Here we got this chart is squeezed, but we can take a look at it at bigger frame, I mean bigger example. And here we got the example I've marked. We have kind of have ellipse, and the market is accelerating after breaking some points of base of this half elliptic shape, when happen to be also important support resistance. So we have acceleration after breaking the dome. But if somebody asked me if it was smart to trade this kind of dome when the trend was growing, not really. Most of the growing trends will cut those domes very fast. So the trend will change into the growing one. So I'm not really recommending to trade this kind of dome when the chart is growing fast. But this particular example could be that we were in some kind of important support resistance at this chart. We would have to check it at 4-hour chart as well, and with other things that happen during that day. Let's search some more domes happening at 30-minute chart. You see, here we got this kind of shape. Even though the market was growing, we see some kind of elliptic shapes when the trend was changing. So we can mark some kind of base of the dome. For example, here it is more simple. When the market accelerated, it tested this point, the base of the dome, and accelerated again to the downside. So sometimes it is really simple to use this kind of pattern, I mean the dome or saucer or whatever you call it, to trade simple. Only you have to remember that exactly stop loss have to be sure enough, I mean above those recent highs, to make sure you won't be cleaned out by any random move, and you have to remember to go with that trend. So most or some of these domes won't really give us a clear signal to go short, because the trend will be growing fast, for example. So it won't be too smart to go to the short side of the market. But there are also moments in market when we are talking about consolidating. So some kind of consolidation might give us an idea of trading the dome in more firm way. I mean, the base of the dome is here, for example. Here we got first fake breakout and another one, very classic follow through to the short side with almost testing this point of support resistance base of the dome, and again coming back to the short selling positions. So again, I hope you will train some at 1 minute chart, train how to trade those saucer, those domes, have elliptic shapes at 1 minute chart training, to see them and know how to use them in the future at 30-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, etc. charts, just to use them in the right way to know how the stop loss will be placed and how the market is moving next to or on the level of base of this dome. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you had some nice idea about trading the dome half elliptic shapes.